Okay, so I'm back. Today's video is going to be about my kingdom marriage journey so far. I feel led to talk about what this promise looks like in a more realistic kind of day-to-day setting. Um, a lot of the videos that I see talking about this, it's like a lot of feel-good words, which, there's nothing wrong with that if it really is from the Lord, but I find it just a little bit kind of, I guess, exhausting because it's just a lot of like, this is gonna happen and tomorrow you'll see them or something like that, and it's like, hold on, this cannot all be real. And so yeah, I wanted to do like a little bit more of a realistic kind of look at it, and yeah. So let me think. Okay, so basically I wrote some notes down because this one is really important. So, I wanted to again define what that kingdom marriage thing is because some people think that it's false or just don't understand what it is. Basically, it's a prophetic word that the Lord gives specifically about a God ordained relationship that He has for you. This isn't anything new or like impossible or something like that. God ordained relationships happen all the time. You can find so many testimonies about them. They're really beautiful, actually. They're the most beautiful love stories. And if you are submitted to God and He brings you to someone, that's a God ordained relationship. So, very much a thing, and obviously prophetic words are very much a thing. So it's basically that. I like to kind of differentiate between kingdom marriage. This is just my own thing. If something is like kingdom marriage related, I kind of consider that the prophetic version of the God ordained instead of just like the regular like God ordained situation where you may know the person already, or like be close with them, be friends with them, or you may meet them at church or something like that, and then God tells you about them. That's a little bit different from when it's like someone that you don't know or hardly know, but you've been given insight about like who this person is and um, little things that whatever the Lord wants to give you. So that's more of what I'm going to be talking about and what I'm referring to when I say kingdom marriage. So let me see here what I wrote down. Basically, this whole journey I've realized that I have wrestled with God this entire time. Like, I feel so bad, and it's not just with this, it's with like everything. But yeah, I've taken up a WWE posture to be perfectly honest. So without going into a lot of detail, because I'm gonna do a video pretty soon talking about the like proofs from what God gave me, I guess, as proofs. But in 2020, He gave me a word about this. That was the first time that I ever heard about this for myself, and actually in general, first time I heard about this. Excuse me. And I really wasn't sure what to make of it because actually at the time I wasn't close with God, so I was just really in the dark. But yeah, that's when He first gave me the word. And so since I wasn't really close with Him, I really didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know. I'm like, is this good? Is this bad? Like, what's happening? Like, it wasn't, and it also wasn't clear to me as well. And since 2020, He has given me a word every year, or maybe maybe multiple words every year, I should say. But yeah, He gave me how it kind of started was He gave me one really like profound dream in 2020, and then another one in 2021, and then another one in 2022. And honestly, only since last year have I actually been able to accept it and say, okay, Lord, this actually might be from you. This actually might be what you're saying. I'm going to embrace it and move forward with the idea that this is actual. Like, instead of just like, I'm holding this thing in the back of my head, but I'm not actually taking it seriously. Because that's been my posture. Literally. Like, it's crazy. So, yeah, when I say I wrestled with God with this, I have looked at this as anything you could possibly think, not of God, not like revealing of his character, all of that. So I thought he was teasing me, to be honest. Like, let me like put this dangling carrot in front of your face, and this is like what you want, but too bad you're not gonna get it. I thought I was crazy. I thought, oh my gosh, there's so many things. I wish I had written them down. I really should have. I thought, Lord help me, what else did I think? I thought, like, oh, well, this person probably is just meant to be, like, a good friend or something. Like, I thought everything. Like, so many things, so many negative things, but all negative things. It's weird because it's like, I wanted to believe deep down there was something that, like, it didn't sit right to, like, write it off as all these negative things, but at the same time, I just didn't have the faith to believe for it to be anything other than something negative, I guess. Which goes to show where my spirit was at the time. And even honestly, to this day, I still struggle with looking at things more positively or realistically instead of pessimistically. But yeah, I listened to. Did I listen to other people? Sorry, I wrote this note and I'm like, what? This doesn't make sense. Cause I don't know why I put that. But yeah, basically, I just did not have any hope in this at all. Um, every day I took this to be either the stuff that I just mentioned or other things, um, or like this kind of like torturous kind of thing. Like, I was taking it from the perspective of, oh, well, kind of like the dangling carrot thing, but like, okay, well, if it is gonna happen, like, how will it ever happen? Because, like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know. It was just, like, all just the worst possible things you could think, which is really interesting and telling because, like, I mean, normally, at least me, I give the benefit of the doubt when I'm looking at any situation, person, whatever, and it's like, okay, there's probably good and bad here. So for me to just look at this as this bad thing, knowing that it came from the Lord, is just like so wild to me. And someone asked me how do I know it came from the Lord, and then someone else asked me like, well, how does he even ordain like relationships and stuff? I will talk about that in my proof video, my kingdom marriage proofs. But yeah, I definitely would just say, like, after the amount of time that it's been, I personally have no energy to invest in this. Like, it is not energy of my own that keeps me going with this. By no means. Like, it is stupid. It's exhausting. It's a bunch of stuff if I personally were, like, fueling this and, like, trying to, like, it doesn't even feel good to do it, like, on my own, to, like, try and, like, hype myself up to continue to like feed into this. Like it's starting. It would make me feel very not good about myself, not good mentally. Like, you could believe it or not, but it's basically pretty similar to my concert story, actually. If you've watched that, I said, like, you know, the Lord got me into this concert. And I know some people could, like, brush it off, whatever. I just got lucky. It was a coincidence, whatever. But the energy needed to get to that concert and get to specifically that place that the Lord told me He was going to open the door for me, or that's where I needed to be. That's what He said. The energy needed could not have been from my own self, because I did not personally want to like give anything into it. And it's honestly the same with this. Like, on a very like personal note, this does me no good. Like, it's like, yeah, this is cool and all, but like, I could have something right here, right now. I could have. Let me not go into details, but yeah, this does not. There's a lot of like cons to it, basically. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, if I was operating with my own energy and stuff, I would be like total. I would not be the same. I could not like have this joy, this peace. Like, I just couldn't. Um, but yeah. So, anyways, going back to like, yeah, how I've been handling this is I've looked at this very much like as something to not really look at as a promise from the Lord of the universe. Like, I've just looked at it as like, I guess, a promise from a person that it's like, well, maybe this will come to pass and maybe it won't. Um, there was that too. There was also the fact that I was like, oh, well, you know, well, how are you going to get this person's attention? Like, I know, like, what you could be doing for me and with me and through me, but what about this other person? Like, I'm going to have to tell them, like, all this stuff. And it's been a ride. Like, it really has been a ride. And, okay, I wrote down, it's been hard because I'm making it hard. And that's, like, the truth of it. One thing I've said in my previous, the do's and the don'ts, is that the focus shouldn't be on the situation. It shouldn't be all about this. The promise is good, and it's sweet, and it's something to hold on to and believe for, but it's not everything. You shouldn't put all your energy into it. And unfortunately, that's what I was doing, and for a good amount of time. And it took a toll. It definitely took a toll. And I really saw it as like, my God, I'm literally being oppressed. Like, that's kind of how I saw it, basically. Like, I couldn't wrap my head around it being something good. And it's like, I believe that the Lord is good. So why would He be like trying to torture me with this? Like, it just, the math wasn't mathing. But yeah, the everyday with this has looked very much like me just either trying to put it in the back of my head, or being upset, to be honest. I did not take a positive posture this entire time, and I just want to like kick myself, because I have tortured myself these past, is it 4 years? 2020 to now? That's whatever that is. Sorry, it's 2 a.m. I'm not doing any sort of anything that seems like math. But, yeah. I have, like, tortured myself with it. And it's weird because the Lord continued to speak to me and hold my hand through this, and when I asked for confirmation, because it's like, this is crazy, like, I don't want to be involved with this anymore, like, and He would give it to me, and it's like, and I still didn't get it. So, please, if you're watching this and you have a word, don't make the mistakes that I've done. This is the only reason why I'm here, is like to beg you not to make the same mistakes that I've made. The Lord gave you that promise for a reason. And the reason is not to torture you, not to tease you, not to make you feel bad, not to show you how terrible you are and just make you give up. Like, no. He's giving that promise because it's for you. It's what's for you, and he wants it for you, but there is work to be done. If it's one of these prophetic words, there is work to be done, and there's a responsibility to be had. So just do that, but please do not torture yourself. Do not make the same mistakes of, don't listen to a bunch of people who are saying like, oh, this is gonna happen, oh, that's gonna, like, don't do that, because there's definitely people who are false who are out here talking about this. The kingdom marriage thing is not false, but there are people out here who are false and making it seem false. Just run everything by the Lord. Run everything by the Holy Spirit. When you do that, he will sift out what is of him, what is not of him. He'll make it clear. So basically, I've been getting through this promise by either holding it at a distance or holding it with a lot of negative light. And I've just really struggled, and it's felt, like I say, torturous at times. It's just this promise that just won't come to pass, and Lord, when, like, all this waiting and everything, and it's like, oh, well, it doesn't even make sense, and, well, this happened, so maybe it's not even real, or whatever. But I was checked by something, and this is the last bit of what I'm going to say. So, I was sitting with the Lord before I came on here, and I was asking him, how do I navigate this? Because it's nice when you give me little confirmations, and it's nice if you send someone to give me confirmations. But I don't understand how to get through the day to day, because day to day, a lot of negative, like the confirmations will get me through maybe a week or so, and then, you know, you're back to like kind of just wherever you're at. And I'm like, how do I get through this? How do I make sense of this? So I asked the Lord. He didn't say anything. Asked him again. He didn't say anything. I think I asked him again 2 or 3 times, and he didn't really say anything, and I was a little bit disappointed. But eventually, I went on YouTube, and I came across this video, and I'm not like super into looking into this kind of stuff because it can get very addictive and just like crazy and have nothing to do with what God has honestly told you. But so really be cautioned with that. But there was this video that came up, and for some reason I felt kind of drawn to it, and I clicked on it, and I started listening, but I felt really distanced from it. And I can't remember if it was just this I mean, it was a beautiful story, but I don't know, there was something that it just wasn't like, I was like, I'm over this. I think it was because it was, like how I was saying, the differentiation between like a prophetic version of this and like a normal God-ordained relationship. I think it was just a normal God-ordained relationship where this person like knew this person and they were friends and all this stuff. I can't really remember, but that was kind of like, oh, this is not what I wanted. So I felt pretty discouraged, and I was planning to stop listening multiple times, and I think I was like, well, maybe I'll just get halfway through just to see if it changes or anything, or just to hear how it turns out, or whatever the case was. But I've heard these stories before, and yes, they're so beautiful, and nothing against them. It's just not for me, and it may not be for you, and that's why it's different. It's like, this is encouraging, but I need a little more. And so, about a quarter of the way through, she mentions this other story that helped her, the person whose video I'm watching, helped encourage her to share her story and to believe for this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, okay. Okay. And she was like, I highly recommend checking it out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. I didn't really think much of it because I'm like, oh, this is the same, probably going to be the same thing. But she said something that kind of caught my eye. And she said, this person, their story is about, it centers around this evidence box that they created after they got their word from God. And I was like, evidence box? What is that? What does that even mean? Like, and so about halfway through the video, I said, I'm done. This is, I know the truth of the matter. Ooh, I forgot to mention this. The truth of the matter is how you get through this is to stay focused on the Lord. Not even on the promise. Not even on the promise. On the Lord. Stay focused on the Lord. Make him, well, he already is. Make him your husband for the time being. Make him your focus. Make him the love of your life. He is. He should be. But just make him the focus. And that was the other thing. I was like, I know that's the practical answer, but it's also like, you keep communicating with me about this. So obviously there's, to a degree, some awareness, something that I need to pour into and pour my spirit into the situation. And it's like, so like, if you're going to keep talking about this and it's going to be on my mind, I need to know how to navigate this. So that was me kind of speaking to the Lord. And so I stopped the video. I'm like, this is a good story. I can tell this is a good story. I can already see his beautiful fingerprints all over this, but I'm just not. I've heard this kind of story enough. Like, I need something specific for what I've been given, because to be honest, not only do I not know how to navigate this, but I also am feeling a little discouraged because I don't think I've seen a single testimony about this. I've only seen testimonies about people who have like regular kind of meetings that are God ordained relationships, not these prophetic ones. So I think about listening to this person that she mentioned, but I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that, because I don't want to like torture myself even more. But I don't know, over the course of the next like maybe 30 minutes or hour or whatever, something just kept kind of like pulling me towards the idea of like watching it, and I'm like, I really don't want to do this. But I mean, fine, like I'll just listen to the first 5 minutes, and if she says something about like, well, I had this friend who, we were friends, and then God took him away, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm done, because I don't want to hear that again. I really don't. And I start listening, and it's pretty clear that the Lord answered. It's so beautiful, because there were so many times when I could have just, like, stopped the video and just walked away, and it wouldn't have been anything, like, major if I did, because, well, actually, I don't know if that's true. I look at it as he was trying to actually answer me, because at the time I didn't quite see it as that, but how my perspective and my spirit has changed in regards to this is just like, non-quantifiable. Like, it's just like, what just happened? What did I just receive from this person? So, gosh, it was so beautiful. So, I listened to her story, and I'm like, okay, wait, this actually seems like this has to do with something similar to what I'm experiencing and other people are experiencing. And I remember what happened. So at first I was only gonna watch 5 minutes, and then I said I think okay I'll just watch half of it or something like that. Listen to it. It was a audio thing. And as I'm listening, I'm like, oh no, this is for me. This is perfect. This is good. And I'm just really curious about this evidence box. And I'm not gonna share the whole thing because I think you should check this story out. It's by this lady named Mia Fields. Mia Fields and Joran's love story. Look it up. Fields is Fieldes. Mia Fields and Joran, Joren, I think. Love story. And basically, she had gotten a prophetic word from the Lord through a vision about her person, or a metaphor, I guess, for her having a marriage. And she just has crazy faith. And she's like, okay, Lord, if you say it's gonna be, it's gonna be. Let me just start stacking up my evidence. And I'm like, what? Like, who thinks like this? This is amazing. And so she started to gather like this box of evidence of it was things that she wanted to give to her future person, things that would like remind her of I guess her journey, and um things, yeah, like for their future and all this stuff. And I'm just like, this is so beautiful. But everything was like super purposed and specific. It was either from some communication that she had from the Lord, or like some trip that she said she like went on this trip, and she went, I think she went to Israel. Yeah, she went to Israel, and she was like, oh well, this is the place that if there's any such place where he'll answer my prayer, answer like some specifics about the situation or whatever the case is, this is it. And there's so many beautiful bits and pieces to it. So beautiful, so beautiful. But yeah, she had gathered this evidence box, and I was just I started crying actually after I finished the story. I'm not doing it justice, by the way. You really should look it up. And I don't normally cry over this kind of stuff because, like I say, I've heard all these stories and they are so beautiful. But this made me cry because for the first time it was like I saw if this is how he, if this is, if this was his perspective with the story for her, then I know that this is his perspective in the story for me. And I was for the first time confronted with the fact that I could sow seeds of hope instead of these seeds of doubt and negativity that I've been sowing all this time. All this time I've been looking at it as the worst case scenario to a degree. Like, I would hold it in high esteem when I felt like it, I guess. And then there were times when I didn't feel like it. And just like life in general, it's an up and down thing. Like, there are days when just negative. There may be days when specifically towards this person you might feel some negativity or something. You might be really tested. And it's like, I can't let that dictate